What's up, everybody? My name is Ryan, aka the Goose from The Goose Fights Back. This is my lovely wife Maya and our dingus doggo Samwise. In this one, I wanted to talk about complacency, about intentionally putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. The main thing that I want to talk about in relation to that, it's called the boiled or boiling frog theory, something like that. But yeah, replace with lobster, crab. What else do people boil to eat? That's yeah, but that's not quite like a frog. Huh? That's still no, not like a frog, like a lobster, like a live little critter, you know what I mean? Doesn't really matter. I already provided a couple of examples. If you come up with one, let me know. That'd be fun. But essentially, insert given critter there, which is wild and weird. But anyhow, bear with me. Just go along with it. But essentially, if you're put into the pot at the start, right? It's one thing to be, for example, if it's winter and then you hop into a hot tub or something like that, there's going to be a pretty considerable temperature difference. Even not in winter, sometimes, like when I had a gym membership back in the day, they had a hot tub and we'd go to it. But, even dipping your foot in at that time, sometimes it was too hot and you'd recoil, right? But if you already were warm, or if you started out in it when it was cool and then it warmed up around you, it's a thing where you just don't notice it, essentially. You don't notice it essentially until it's too late. And so with that, essentially, I'm saying that a lot right now. Take a shot every time I say that word. Sips coffee. But it's almost like I'm new to making videos or something like that. Anyhow, complacency is the reason. It's a deal where it might not be an all-at-once discomfort or thing to set you back or piss you off or whatever it might be. That would be essentially, take a shot, putting your foot into the hot water. If you were to dip your foot into the boiling water right away, the massive discomforting thing that causes sudden life changes. Generally that's loss of some sort or sickness of some sort, or like sudden extraneous circumstances. Maybe you get like kicked out of your house or something if you're still at your parents' house or whatever it could be. But those are the things that lead to us making necessary change, right? And chances are change was needed before then. And chances are it was just a thing that you weren't really noticing. And it's because things weren't that bad starting out, and over time they got worse and worse. Now it's to a point where if you felt like you're drowning for years, or if you can't catch your breath, if you're stressed out, if you can't sleep, so on and so forth, that's evidence that a change has been needed, but you've neglected to do so. And change in and of itself is discomforting. It's all about survival. And so all of what I'm talking about in terms of complacency and such, it's not entirely your given fault or like our fault per se, because we are wired to pursue that in which is steady, even if it isn't optimal, right? Even if it's rife with things that we should make a difference about, we just won't, because again, survival. And so I'm here to say, do the hard thing. Push yourself every so often to be uncomfortable and do the hard thing. It's not obviously easy or fun and stuff like that, and it's surrounding change, which generally we try to avoid for, again, the sake of survival, more primal instincts. But do the hard thing. Jump into the vat of cold water, do the ice plunge, go into a sauna. If you think you're done, no, you're not. Like, give it another 5 minutes or something like that. If you start sprinting, because sprinting people generally don't do after high school, they probably don't do it after their 20s. It's always better when my wife makes the coffee. I don't know how. But sprinting is not easy. So do that. And when you're thinking that you're done, when you're thinking that you're about to give up, that you're going to gas out and you can't go any further, keep doing it. Like, keep going. You'd actually be surprised. Generally, brain says stop at about half of what you actually can do, which is, I think, really cool. But again, that's for survival. That's for preservation. And so, of course, your brain isn't going to push into the massive discomforting zone. You're gassing it full tilt with a sprint type deal up a hill maybe, and you want to be done after 5 seconds. It's like, well, do it some more. You know, after one run, do another run. After a couple runs, do another run type deal. If you've walked a mile, like walk another 2/10 of a mile or something along those lines. Or like if you walk 3 kilos already, walk another kilometer type deal. But that boiling frog theory, like think about it in relation to, I'll even toss this one out, but climate. Climate is a pattern. It's history of weather type deal. And generally in this area, you know, we used to have harsher winters with a lot more snow. Haven't had that for 15 years. It's been less and less and less, you know, and that's change over time. Climate change, right? It's a pattern that changed over time, climate change. And people don't want to do the necessary things like designate a chunk of their yard to a wildlife prairie because it's unsightly or they're weeds or something like that. But those are all bullshit standards and beget complacency and further exacerbate the issues that we're currently living through. And it's one of those deals where the further you get into a hard time, the more catastrophic the climax will be, you know. And perhaps because essentially what I'm saying is there's climate catastrophe imminent whether you like it or not type deal. You could have financial disaster imminent because of your spending or something like that. So foregoing spending, foregoing going out. You know, you could be trying to lose weight, and like end of the day, yes, there are certain conditions and what have you that make it hard to lose weight or nigh impossible. However, the age-old equation is less calories in, more calories out equals weight loss. And exercise isn't easy. Eating healthy can be difficult. You know, switching over to a new diet can be difficult. Like drinking water first thing in the morning, getting into a new pattern, all that stuff isn't always easy, but it's necessary, right? And the further down the line you go of not, you know, losing the weight, the harder it is on your heart, and the shorter your lifespan becomes. The longer you put off like applying to a different job or talking to that person, the more stress you'll have in your life, the more worked up you'll be, and the shorter your life will be, you know, and the worse quality as you're going about it as well. So don't put off planting a pocket prairie. Do it for the bees. Do it for, you know, your kids, so on and so forth. Do it because it's beautiful. Do it because it's actually less water intensive. You know, plant some creeping thyme or some different clovers or grasses or something like that, and get your freaking yard registered as a, you know, an ecological landscape. You can do that kind of thing. But even if you don't want to go that far, like plant a couple trees, you know, plant some wildflowers of sorts that are local to your area. Once you get that area established, it pretty well just maintains itself, you know. Take the trip. For example, for me, milk doesn't jive with me. It causes my bad cholesterol to go up. I like milk though. It's hard to not put it in my coffee, but give it some time, and now it's like, well, I don't really want coffee any other way. It's just getting used to a new pattern, doing something new and different, which that's the hard thing, but don't allow complacency to rule you.